Hello, my name's Tori Stevens, and this month has been Digital Sculpting 1, and it's been a really, really fun journey that we've gone on this month with learning in mainly ZBrush. And I hope to take you through a small snapshot of kind of what our month has looked like. So let's get started. For our first assignment, we had to choose an image from a Pinterest board. This was the little guy I chose. And we had to start sculpting him. This was my first sculpt in ZBrush. It was kind of messy and sloppy and really, really fun. um, my next sculpt got a little better. We got more detail on the legs and the feet. The head came out a little bit smoother. And then we took a big jump, and he has actual detail on his feet. They're smoothed out. He has a staff. He has actual eyeballs in his head. I ended up giving him a cloak and sandals and a bag to carry pearls in. He is a peaceful alien. And this is what my final one came out with. We've got a lot of detail on the staff. He has texturing on the back of him. I gave his cloak sort of movement so it looks like it's moving. It was really, really fun to get to learn to use all these new tools. Well, then we had to choose a new subject. Mine was a mouse. And we ended up making a board. Here, I'll move this over real quick so you can see it. And this board shows, apologies, some different things that I was working in. So this was my original mouse that I chose over here, brand. So you can see he's got the same shape of the ears, the cute little face, the thin hands where the fur cuts off, and the small tail. And then we had to choose clothing, and I chose to make him a ninja. So I got inspiration from different ninjas, from shows that I like, really cool costumes, and this was actually one of the main inspirations right here for his entire outfit. So he has the bandana going across his face, he's got the little vest, the puff sleeves, the belt, and the little pouch that I started. We continued. He got more detailed. We've got, the pulling here, so it makes it look more detailed. We gave him 2 swords. I even gave him a shuriken. This is his face without the scarf. I think it came out pretty well. He has a very dynamic pose. We learned about making sure that your sculpt was interesting and had character. Then he had legs and little feet there. And he's in a very mouse-like stance. He looks like he's ready to attack you. I gave him another dagger in his hand. His ears got more detailed. He got more detail in his face. And this is my final image of my little guy right here. And he has his belt, his shuriken. He's got stuff on his feet. He looks really cool. Well, then we had to render these out. So this was my Unity render, and I chose different colors to make it more dynamic and look creative. The sculpt looks very well. It's very clean. It looks very nice. It looks like you could almost see him walking about. This was one of my ones I did from Maya. Again, I chose very dynamic colors and very bright things. Then we had to do it in Photoshop. We ended up adding light sources, so he has a frontal light and an edge light, a rim light, sorry. And we made it so, he comes into focus and out of focus. And I added a background, so it looks like he's in the forest. And he's not in color, but I think he looks pretty proportionally well to how this tree trunk is. He's kind of hiding inside it, ready to leap out and kill somebody. So now we're going to go through ZBrush and a little bit how we worked on and created and some of the tools that we used to create the Ninja Mouse. So this is my ZBrush. We ended up making custom colors. So I have a set of custom UI colors that I saved in here. And that changed all the colors for my UI. I think it looks really cool. So we're going to load a tool here we're going to go to my final sculpt of my Ninja Mouse, and we're going to load him in. So he is now loaded into ZBrush. Let's make it so we can work on him. I used T to be able to start sculpting on him. And this is him. I think he looks really cool. We're going to change the material real quick here. This is the basic material that we've been working in. It's really nice. Right now I have X, which allows me to sculpt symmetrically. As you can see, it's only chosen on the legs. He has many subtools. So basically what we did was I took a single object and I started with a body. So we're going to go ahead and take his clothes off really quick. I know, poor little guy. We're going to strip him of his clothes. There we go. And I started with a body. And I went from there. I added subtools. So you would come down here and you would append. And let's say we wanted to add a cube. So then we come down and we're going to select our cube that we added right here. And let's scale it down and pull it off to the side real quick. So let's say we wanted to make him another weapon. So let's make it a little thinner, a little smaller, and we'll pull it out. So right there. Now that's pretty cool. Now let's say we wanted to make a pair of nunchucks. So we've got that one. I'm going to hold Alt and Control Shift and pull it over. And now I've got two of them. So I've got these two tools right here. They're still connected. And I can put this in my polyfill so we can see which one we're working on at a time. So I'm going to unmask them both. And let's drag this up and we're going to smooth them out. So you're going to hold Shift and we're just going to smooth them out here. Beautiful. Now, let's say we wanted to connect them. Get that real nice and clean, smooth down there. There we go. Now, nunchucks usually have a chain, so if we wanted to connect this end to this end, essentially. So all I'm going to do is W, Control Shift again, and I'm going to make a copy. And then I'm going to mask this one because I don't need three of them. So we are going to Control W and then mask that one off. And then we are going to split the mask points. So we split this one off and we are going to delete it. So now it's deleted. We're back to here. And Control, mask that one. So now we've got this piece of it selected. Control W. Split mask points. And we have our own piece right here that we are going to work on. And we're going to make this the chain that's going to go between them. So Shift again. And we're going to make that even thinner. That's looking pretty good right there. All right, now let's flip it over and move it up. All right, now we got it into a pretty good place between the two of them. Looks pretty good right there. And now let's say we wanted to put them all back together. We would hit Control for our mask, mask this part off, take this top part, and we would merge it. So we're going to merge down, and now it's all one piece. So then we could go in and, sort of manipulate the sculpt. You can use different pieces if you want to. Some of the really cool brushes that we put saves in, like I think my inflate one was the best, just makes everything look really smooth and has a lot of good properties to it. And now let's say for some reason, just for the sake of this video, this is done, which obviously it doesn't look that great, but it's got a lot. It's really, really dense, so super dense. So we don't need it that dense. So we're going to go to geometry, and we are going to Control W. Now it's all one piece, and we are going to Z remesh, and we're going to remesh it. Now look how it took it from 38,000 to 11,000. Exact same design, nothing much has changed, but it is something way more usable. So then if we wanted to go in and we needed to add more edge loops, which we could do that in Z Modeler, so we'd pull up our brushes, we would choose Z Modeler, and we could go in, and if we wanted to, select this one, pull it out. There's lots of really cool things you can do and make it super neat. Pull these edges out. There's so many different things you can do in here, and it's really, really cool. So we've had a lot of fun learning a lot of stuff in ZBrush. Then we learned how to model things out, put stuff where we need them. I accidentally made duplicate, but that's completely fine. It's not a big deal. I can just delete one of them. So there's a lot of cool things you can do in ZBrush. Something that we did to save it out was after we built a camera, we went to draw, and we built a specific camera from where we're looking at. So if we draw, and we store the camera, now we have that camera stored, and then if we go over here to light, we can add lights into the scene. So let's load, we saved a couple of lights in here, documents, digital sculpting. So there's my key light. Now we've got the key light. We want to see what that looks like. Turn on the BPR render, turn that off, thank you. And there's our light. Then after we did that, if we wanted to render it out, go into render, we're going to take it, put it over here. You'd go into render, change all the settings that you want, make it look really good, and then you do a render pass. You do the shaded, you do the mask, add the depth, and then once you were done with that, you could go into Photoshop. Once I get Photoshop to load here, and we'll close out of this. Otherwise, I'm going to break Photoshop because it doesn't like to open in both. And we're going to open our recent file. So all we did was we had, off for a second, we added our key and our rim, added them together, put a smart filter on, put the levels, added the mask to make it really clean, added our depth pass to make sure we can, get that field of view in there. And then that's what our final image came out of. And it looked really cool. And my favorite is rendering in Maya. So far, Unity's pretty cool, but I prefer the way that the renders look in Maya. I think they look really, really like they have more depth and they seem more alive to me, and it seems more realistic as opposed to something kind of just posed in the scene. But both are perfectly acceptable, really cool. If you were in Maya, you would always make sure to set your project. Mine is, it's set to digital sculpting, which is, of course, where I need it. So we open 401 Maya. Let's open our Ninja Mouse. Oh, we already set that. Oops. Hold on. Close. File. Open a scene. Open it up. So we're going to open the scene. In this particular scene, we're looking through my camera right here. Let's go to perspective real quick. We added this sort of like fishbowl type thing in here. And let's see if we take it. Surface, image display. Oops. I think I broke it. It's definitely a possibility. Sometimes Maya hates to work when I have the OBS open, so I apologize if this is going really slow. So we reverse it, and then we've got that beautiful flooring right there. I've got my lights. I made them different colors. So we'll look through this real quick. Go to my camera one and view a render. And that's one of the scenes that I rendered out for my final project. You can see this little mouse. He looks really cool in here. Very dynamic. If we wanted to render this out, he looks like he could pretty much come alive and start talking to you. So we had a lot of fun rendering out these projects and working in Maya and everything. And sorry about that. But that was a lot of what we learned this month, just using different brushes and different tools and kind of getting our feet wet and learning how to build in ZBrush and really get to sculpt and use the styles and the techniques and all the things that we learned. And it was really, really fun. And I'm glad I got to share this video with you. And I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.